and her absurd new venture. Candace,
Yes.
she's going to become just a jolly old normal housewife, doing cooking with her jolly little friends.
You've heard the whispers, seen the headlines flash across your screen, and probably even laughed at the short clips. Everyone's talking about Meghan Markle's new cooking show, which she says will show us her real life.
So, she left the royal family because it was just so unattainable and out of touch. And here she is in Montecito, putting together perfect little baked pies to Do You Believe in Magic? Like it's an Eat, Pray, Love sequel, because that's so attainable and relatable.
But what if that perfect kitchen, the easy baking, and the happy chats with friends are just another act in a big Hollywood play? Tonight, we're not just watching a famous person try something new, we're looking closely at a big PR move, a risky gamble to fix an image that for many has been damaged beyond repair.
Right now, we can't afford groceries and people can't put gas in their tank. But yeah, here's Meghan Markle showing you that she likes to take something and elevate it, because I'm sure this is exactly what she was doing before she met Prince Harry, when she was a D-list actress that was like stripping down on suits. But she wants us to believe this is the real her.
We're going behind the scenes, not into her fancy house, but into the minds of some really smart critics who just had to speak their minds. What happens when you put Piers Morgan, Candace Owens, and Mya Peterson in a room and let them loose on what they've all called the most ridiculous cooking show ever? It's not just a review, it's like a deep dive, finding out about how confused and out of touch this show really is. It shows a huge gap between what people see and what's actually real. And trust me, you won't believe how much they uncover.
I've never seen someone that just struggles to be a person, like just be a human being. Like, they don't know, they sit in a room and they're like, how can we humanize you? And she's like, I know, I'm gonna go in full hair and makeup.
You probably think this is where the story ends. You're wrong. Meghan Markle, with her famous smile and seemingly effortless charm, was once a real-life princess. From her acting days to joining the royal family, it seemed everything she did turned into a big deal. People loved her, critics praised her, and big companies wanted her name on their projects. She was seen as someone who made it big on her own, a relatable success story who seemed to handle the tough world of fame without a single mistake. Her charity work was always in the news. Her social media was carefully planned to make her seem down to earth and real, and her friendships with other famous people looked genuine.
Makeup, too, because I know when I bake with my girlfriends, you've
In
never
a
done this,
white
Michaela, when you invite
outfit.
everyone over.
In a
and you
white
have
outfit.
Perfect hair and perfect
Who cooks in a
makeup.
white outfit?
But behind the scenes, the pressure of being so public was growing. The constant need to be perfect, the photographers everywhere, the never-ending judging of her every move. It was like a fancy prison, and cracks were starting to show. We all saw the perfect pictures, the heartfelt interviews where she talked about her love for her work, and the many awards that made her a star. But that's just what they wanted you to see, a carefully built picture meant to hide the growing problems underneath. The first signs of trouble were small, almost too tiny to notice. Most people just thought it was regular gossip. Little things that weren't like her. Missing a press event here, looking a bit stressed with someone she worked with there, or suddenly disappearing from social media without a good reason. Her public relations team, who are experts at fixing bad situations, would quickly put out statements saying things like scheduling problems or creative differences, quickly stopping any rumors. But for those who really pay attention in Hollywood, these small changes from Meghan's strict schedule were warning signs.
Literally no one. But apparently we're supposed to relate to this and somehow go, oh, now I see why she left the royal family, to essentially create a royal in Montecito. It's so patently her, so patently tone deaf. I love it.
Tiny cracks in the perfect picture she had built. The stakes in this town are huge, and keeping a perfect image is super important, a must-have part of the giant money deals that tie these stars to their studios. Every public appearance, every social media post, every word said in an interview is a planned move in the high-stakes game of looking good. And Meghan, for all her talent, was starting to mess up. These weren't just one-off events, they were early warnings, small shakes before a big earthquake. Remember this detail, it becomes super important later because these seemingly random events are actually all connected. The first big talk about Meghan's show, American Riviera Orchard, wasn't just about cooking, it was about the huge hopes placed on her. After the enormous Netflix deal, the messed up Spotify project, and a bunch of other projects that didn't really take off, this show was supposed to be her big comeback, her true voice finally being heard.
It's so painfully deluded. I can't work out if she really believes this stuff. I mean, I knew her a bit before she met Harry, but I watched this with my mouth open like we all seem to. And the thing is, nobody told you how you look in this.
Piers Morgan, always looking for a fight, immediately pointed out how silly it all was. He started almost like he didn't want to touch the topic, sighing loudly and saying, "I don't even really want to do this, but we kind of have to." This wasn't just him not wanting to do it. It was a clever trick to get people's attention, telling the audience that what was coming was so ridiculous and out of touch that it needed to be talked about publicly. His words immediately showed the main problem. Meghan Markle, the former royal who famously said she left because of the difficult public life and how unreachable it was now trying to act like a normal, happy housewife, baking pies in a life that screamed unbelievable wealth and privilege. The sheer guts of this change, from royal rebel to home baker, was the first hook, daring viewers to question the story they were being told. Then, Candace Owens, with her sharp mind and amazing ability to spot fake behavior, jumped right into the confusing mess of the show. Okay, so she left the royal family because it was so unreachable, out of touch, but now she's in Montecito baking pies with her perfect little friends? This wasn't just a question she didn't expect an answer to, it was a great way to make people curious, asking viewers to connect what Meghan said in the past with her super rich life now. Owens didn't stop there. She added a hilariously sarcastic question. "Do you believe in magic?" This wasn't just making fun. It was a smart point about how desperate the show was trying to make people feel like they could relate, which just wasn't possible. The picture she painted was clear and impossible to deny. Meghan, in her perfect white clothes, carefully baking in a house worth many millions, while millions of regular people are worried about gas prices and everyday money problems.
It's not even her mansion, it's her neighbour's friend's mansion, apparently. But the whole idea of doing a cooking show from a massive mansion in one of the richest enclaves in America, in Montecito, and pretending you're relatable, as Candace said, is utterly preposterous.
It made the audience see the huge difference, to ask themselves, who is this show really for? And what kind of real life is Meghan trying to sell us, knowing full well that no one in their right mind would believe it's anything like their own daily struggles. This seemingly random event is actually connected to everything else. The talk got more intense as Candace kept up her attack, saying Meghan's carefully built public image was a struggle to be a person. This hit at the main problem of the show. It was all an act. It wasn't about being real, it was about a performance. A woman in full glam trying to convince everyone she's just like them, even though it's clear she's never had to do laundry. The irony wasn't lost on the people talking, and it wouldn't be lost on the audience either. What's her big secret to a normal life? Candace joked. Oh, a big mansion, hundreds of millions in the bank, and a life that even the Kardashians might say is a little too much. This idea of social proof, comparing her to the most over-the-top reality stars, showed just how incredibly unrelatable Meghan's new normal truly was. The main question came up, does she even realize how silly she looks? Piers Morgan summed it up perfectly, saying the show is like a spoof, something you'd make if you were trying to make fun of royal life meeting simple home life.
Like, laugh out loud. It's like the kind of thing you do if you were doing a parody spoof about them, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, but that's what she really has become, a parody spoof. And at the end of the day, look, Netflix wants their pound of flesh. She owes them. That's it.
Yeah.
You signed a $100 million deal. He's got to do Invictus Games. She's got to do something. And unfortunately, there's just not much for her to do. So she's trying to lean in and make people think she's some cross between Victoria Beckham and Oprah. And she's just not.
This wasn't just bad TV. It was a comedy show pretending to be a cooking show, and not even a good one. The critics' deep dive went beyond just how silly the show looked, getting into the very core of Meghan Markle's public image. Candace Owens focused on the huge contradiction between Meghan's claims that she wanted privacy and her constant need for public attention through projects like this cooking show. She's trying to, Candace said. It's completely ridiculous to see Meghan, who was a less famous actress before, trying to act like she's some mix of Oprah and Victoria Beckham. This wasn't just an insult. It was a powerful moment that made the audience think about the huge difference between Meghan's dream image and what she actually did in her career before she married into the royal family. The message was clear. Oprah and Victoria Beckham built their empires step by painful step, through many years of hard work, taking smart risks, and really connecting with the public. Their brands are true extensions of who they really are, built through public challenges and business wins. Meghan, on the other hand, seems to be trying to skip those early steps, using her royal connection and Netflix's huge money to create an instant famous person. This comparison isn't just about showing a difference in experience, it shows a basic flaw in how real the project is. You won't hear this anywhere else, but people inside the industry often whisper about stars who believe their own hype, forgetting that real influence is earned, not bought or faked. The big question that came up again and again, echoing through the whole discussion, was whether Meghan herself truly knew how out of touch she looked. Does she even realize how out of touch she looks? Piers Morgan asked, a question meant to highlight the huge gap between how Meghan sees herself and how the public, who are becoming more doubtful, see her. This isn't just about a celebrity making a mistake, it's about a huge bad plan, suggesting that she's so unaware of herself that it's almost unbelievable. The discussion showed that the fancy setting of the show, remember it was her neighbor's house, not even her own, completely went against the relatable story she was trying to tell. It's a common trick in Hollywood, trying to sell a dream lifestyle, but this time, it completely failed because the audience knows all about her privileged life. This wasn't just a slip-up, it was a direct insult to the very people she claimed to represent, those who want honesty in a world full of fake appearances. The industry tried to keep this quiet, but the internet never forgets. The panel agreed that the show wasn't made because Meghan really loved cooking or wanted to connect with people in a real way. Instead, it was a cold, calculated business decision, driven by Netflix needing to get its money's worth from their huge investment. Netflix wants their pound of flesh, was the harsh truth, showing the hidden money pressure that often controls celebrity projects in Hollywood. This project, far from being a creative success, was a desperate attempt to fix her image, a last try to sell a fake, acted-out normal life to an audience that was more and more skeptical. The prediction was bad. Will it fail? Absolutely. The prediction of failure wasn't based on being mean, but on the main problem with the idea itself. A comedy show pretending to be a cooking show, and not even a good one. The final twist, the last layer of this exposed plan, was what they expected to happen next. When the show definitely flops, Meghan's public relations team will probably use the same old excuses, blaming outside problems like wildfires, COVID, or whatever tragedy is in the headlines, instead of admitting that she totally messed up her public image. This tiny detail becomes very important later because it shows a bigger pattern of not taking responsibility that has been part of her public story. The quick bad reaction to Meghan Markle's cooking show, even before it was widely available, has been a huge wave of doubt and eye rolls all over social media and regular news. The clips, the ads, the whole idea. Everything has been picked apart very carefully, proving what the critics said would happen. The first excitement isn't about being thrilled, but about confused amusement. A general, "Are they serious?" from people who feel more and more disconnected by how fake someone acts when they constantly talk about being real, but live a life that's totally different. This reaction isn't just about not liking a celebrity, it's about a deeper anger with the carefully made illusions that Hollywood so often sells. The entertainment industry, always quick to react to public feelings, is surely watching this closely, doing their own internal checks to fix any damage, and maybe even rethinking how bankable the Sussex brand really is. The effects are already being felt, with quiet talks about other possible projects, getting a closer look, and people generally getting tired of what feels like fake content. What this whole story shows us is a big, important pattern in the world of famous people. The constant need to stay popular, even if it means losing real connections. Meghan's latest project is a clear reminder that once people lose trust in someone, it's incredibly hard to get it back, especially when new efforts only make the original problems worse. This isn't just about one celebrity's mistake, it's a warning story for the whole industry. It shows how easily big deals, made just because of a famous name, can break down if they don't have a truly interesting idea or a real connection with the audience. How many other stars, tied by huge money contracts, are being forced into similar projects that are set to fail because they care more about making a lot of stuff than making good stuff and more about a fake image than being real? This situation sets a worrying example, suggesting that trying to seem relatable without actually being relatable is a fast way to be laughed at publicly and, in the end, forgotten. The truth is, most people completely missed this hint, the hidden contract that pushed the project forward. As American Riviera Orchard comes out, the question isn't just if it will fail, but how spectacularly. And more importantly, what story will be made up to explain why it didn't do well. The critics' harsh prediction of blaming outside things, like wildfires, COVID, or whatever tragedy is in the headlines, is a chillingly accurate picture of a common way the industry avoids taking responsibility. This isn't just a guess. It's a deeply built-in way of doing things in the industry, avoiding blame when a carefully planned project doesn't connect with people. What does this mean for the future of celebrity content? For how honest or dishonest we can expect famous people to be, and for the big companies that keep putting huge amounts of money into projects that seem totally out of touch? The big question remains, how long can Hollywood keep selling us a fantasy that fewer and fewer people are willing to believe before the whole illusion falls apart because it's just not real?